Welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have Stephanie Johnson from Recurly with us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You're most welcome. So look, Stephanie and I met in a rather ironic way. I'd stepped on a nail and you were with your father and we were in the emergency department in Charing Cross Hospital.
Yes, it was very strange. I think it was about 3:00 in the morning. My dad had tripped over and so popped him up there and then saw you.
That's it.
I don't think you had slept for about 48 hours or something.
Indeed, yeah. I think I was. I'd come off a flight from Australia to London, and had a whole day of meetings, and then stepped on the nail, and the sleep didn't come until the next day. But it was great that we were able to network a bit in the lobby, and it's led to this today. So I'm grateful that I stepped on that nail.
Yeah, exactly. I think my dad started chatting to you first, actually, and then had very interesting chats about emerging markets. I don't know what else you were talking about.
Yeah, that's it. No, I think emerging markets and climate change. So, things which are a world away from what we'll be discussing today. But
conversation at 2 in the morning in A&E.
That's it. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. Well, glad that we're in better surroundings now.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you for joining us. And just by way of background, today's conversation will be really focused on yourself, Recurly, and enterprise marketing. But why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. So I'm Stephanie Johnson. I work for Recurly. We're a subscription management platform, billing and management platform. I grew up in South Africa. I've lived all over the world and worked in a lot of different industries. My first part of my career was actually in fashion.
Nice.
Product development and then digital I worked for Burberry for a while and then a few other sort of fashion brands, and then moved into interior design, worked for an amazing company called Turnstile Designs, who
fantastic.
I still really love. And then more into tech. So now I work in fintech. So a bit of an interesting change, but I guess I've always worked with sort of consumers and understanding what the consumer wants and needs and their different behaviors and how to target them. And so I guess that's where my sort of marketing transition came from.
Fantastic. That's excellent. I mean, a lot of different brands, and you mentioned that you've always been focused on consumers. Has marketing always been like the main role in terms of acquisition marketing, or have you done other pieces as well?
I guess I've sort of done really well-rounded marketing. Always around like what the particular audience and how to engage them, and whether that's sort of like events, acquisition. So anything that the audience will react to, basically. But yes, I think the main change from fashion to interiors, the only difference was really just the audience type, but the actual way that you would target the audience is pretty much the same. Same channels, just a different method.
Yes, that's right. And, I think that's the reason that marketing people are able to, move, let's say, into a different vertical quite easily. Whereas if you consider, let's say, a salesperson, they might build up their book and, that book might only buy a particular product. So it's hard to have such a varied career like you have, which is excellent.
Yeah, I think it really helps. And I think also having a background where I've like moved around a lot, I've had to like adjust to different people and different teams. And I think that helps you learn how to perceive an audience and what they might need.
Yes, indeed. Well, look, you've landed in fintech, which is my favourite industry. I might be a bit biased there, but can you tell us a bit about Recurly, how they were founded, and what their sweet spot is?
Yeah, so Recurly's been going for about 15 years now. We're a subscription management and billing platform. So we work with about 2,200 subscription companies. Pretty big. I mean, we, with our payment partners, process about $1 billion in transactions a month.
Wow.
And we have 65 million subscribers that are serviced through the platform per month as well.
Fantastic.
So really, really good. Exciting customers like Paramount Plus, Sling, Fubo.
Okay, wow.
And a lot of them have sort of grown with us. Anyone who has a subscription business, our main sort of areas are digital media and entertainment, sort of OTT, audio streaming.
Indeed.
And then also education, sort of SaaS software.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I guess the fact that you mentioned that the company came out 15 years ago, it's kind of following that trajectory of the emergence of all of the video or online streaming platforms and such. So, yeah, you've really, been able to grow with that trend.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, so in the last year, we were growing more in Europe. So we were founded in the US, and then we've moved over to Europe. And last year we founded a team here. So it's really nice to have a local team in Europe that can service our customers, and we have everything from like an implementation, customer success team here.
Yeah.
And that's where I came on board to kind of like launch the European part of the team.
Fantastic.
In the marketing.
Let's dive into the business model, because you've mentioned the platform and the fact that your end clients need to have B2C models. So, Recurly offers a subscription service. Your customers are, let's say, I'll use Paramount Plus as the example, online video streaming, but then they have customers. So when their end customers sign up, they're using Recurly without knowing it.
Yes. We'll pair with payment providers like WorldPay or, Amazon Pay or Apple Pay, etc., PayPal.
Yes.
And our platform allows the customer to create individual payment plans or create offers.
Yes.
And also track all the insights from the customers. Like if somebody is about to drop off because they haven't been using the platform, they can get ahead and send them an offer of some kind to keep them on board, or try and upsell to them.
Fantastic.
I think one of the best things about our platform is trying to retain customers, because this is the year, I think, for a lot of tech companies where we're all looking at the year of retention.
Yes. Yeah.
And how there was this big boom during and post the pandemic of tech, but with followed closely by a recession, there's a lot of drop off and churn of customers. So having a platform like Recurly can help you sort of track what's going on with your customers and get ahead of anyone that might drop off.
Yeah.
And also it's that creating that seamless transaction for the customers. I don't know about you, but if I'm using an app and suddenly it asks me to enter in my card details again, or when you're signing up there, I'm really biased, but if I'm signing up to something and they don't have Apple Pay and I'm doing it on my phone, I just click off.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, because it's.
I'm really fickle with signing up to stuff. Yeah, I'm just there's too many steps. So our platform will help that, and it'll update the customers' card details if they get a new card without having to log in and change that or update it.
Oh wow, fantastic.
So it's all about creating a completely seamless experience for the customer.
Yeah.
And
indeed.
so you keep them.
Yes, yeah. And look, I think one of the key KPIs that you mentioned there is retention. So I'd like to just dive one level deeper into that. So let's say one of your clients has the Recurly platform. Are they then, let's say, feeding in customer viewing data? So we know that Lucas watched or streamed 10 hours a month in previous months, but this month he's only streamed 1 hour at the beginning of the month. Therefore, we think he's going to churn. How does that data journey look like? Because I think, the friction of getting a customer to sign up again after they've churned is much higher than giving 6 months free or some other type of offer that keeps them in the loop paying.
Acquisition is so much harder now.
Yeah.
Everyone has become really good at digital marketing.
Yes.
And there's so many tools out there that are sort of diluting the impact of LinkedIn ads or display ads.
Yeah.
So actually acquiring customers is so much harder. So we really try and put a big focus to our customers around look at retention, make sure your customers from every part of their life cycle are really happy.
Yeah.
And then they can almost become an advocate for your brand as well.
Mm.
I mean, I know that I really like some streaming channels over others because when you log in on your TV, it gives you a QR code to log in.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fill in all the bleep, 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 bleep.
That's right.
So I become like an advocate of the experience.
Yes.
And I will most likely not sign up to something where I have to put in my, long email address and small little things that hiccup you from, stop you from joining that service.
Yes. Yeah.
So we like to look with our customers at everything, and even right down to like invoicing and email templates and everything can be managed through the platform.
Wow. So how do you scale the model?
I think a lot of companies forget about that when they scale, about having the right tech stack to take care of that for you.
Yeah.
So Recurly is really good at partnering, like our platform does, integrate with all the payment partners, like really good tax and compliance, very good fraud, and a number of other partners. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. And I think tax and compliance is a super important one because, if you're not collecting, let's say, VAT in a particular country, I know subscription has, some special exemptions around that, but, lots of businesses sell overseas and they don't consider the local laws. So the fact that you guys are able to work with partners to facilitate that is very important.
Definitely. And I mean, streaming, most subscription businesses are global, and you do want to be able to sell to people in different countries.
Yes.
And especially across, well, I think the US is just as complicated. Each state has like a different compliance. But Europe is very difficult and very different and intricate with every country's different currencies and laws. So having a partner that can sort of take that off your plate is really important.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. One of the things that we've spoken about a lot has been enterprise marketing, and you referred to it earlier on in the podcast, the fact that it's just become so easy to do digital marketing well now. And so, we're seeing acquisition costs rise. We're seeing companies have less to spend because of the current economic climate as well. But I was wondering if you might be able to talk us through what trends you're seeing on the ground in the trenches.
We're seeing a lot of really interesting trends from within the enterprise space. Mostly that enterprise companies are looking to expand globally. They want to, maybe there's potential in other regions for them, or they've got their offering is of more interest to a global audience. So trying to facilitate how to help our customers do that is been a really big trend for enterprise. Also like personalization. You'll see in a lot of like streaming, or we've talked mostly about streaming, but a lot of subscription models, they're making the experience more personalized for their customers. So a lot of the enterprise companies, they have a lot of customers to service, so they can be more personalized with what they could offer, like different packages. So we're seeing a lot of trends of enterprise companies doing that, personalization, customization. Giving the customers exactly what they're looking for. In
the past, people may have used, or companies may have incentivized consumers with points, with emails, but now we're often seeing companies, and I'll say Amazon Prime as an example, because I signed up to it the other day. They get people to pay a subscription model, and sometimes that may lead to an incremental increase in spend. So is that something that you're seeing in the market?
Definitely. I think another example like that is EasyJet, I can't remember when it was, but not too long ago, introduced
EasyJet Plus.
EasyJet Plus, a very close friend of mine flies to Spain every month. And you sort of sees the return on that after 2 trips.
Yes, that's right.
So it's worth your while. I think it's £25 for the year, or I might have gotten that wrong, but that's really clever of them, because it's just free revenue basically.
That's right.
And it gives you I think it gives you like speedy boarding and a baggage allowance, and which costs them nothing.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think the enterprise businesses, or any business at the moment, they're really looking to find ways to give something in a subscription model that doesn't cost them anything.
Yes.
So there's a good growing trend of that, like how to be smart around rewarding your customers.
I really love that example, the EasyJet Plus one, because you've got such a big price war with airlines now. And, if you think about British Airways, it also operates a lot of flights out of Gatwick. If they're the same on price, or even if EasyJet's just slightly higher, but you've got a Plus subscription and you're going to get some extra benefits out of it, then you'll go for it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like what Qantas did in Australia. They offer the Qantas Club, so you pay and then you're able to use the lounge whenever you travel, which means that people are always going to travel with Qantas, even before they hit a tier which gives them lounge access in the loyalty program.
Clever.
So I think subscription models are a great way for companies just to incrementally increase the frequency and the average revenue per unit of the consumers that choose to take that up. But look, we've spoken a lot about sort of enterprise marketing for end clients. What about you? You've had a career in marketing. What are your favorite acquisition channels or ways to obtain customers?
Oh gosh, that changes a lot. And it depends on the sort of audience, I guess. But at the moment, I'm doing a lot into like channel mapping, like which channel produces what size customer, what sort of, which persona reacts to each channel as well.
Yes.
I think, I will always love digital.
Yeah.
You get a lot of data from it, from like target accounts. And I think using software like that in the same way that our customers would use our software is really key. You can identify your customers in the right way. So I love the account-based marketing strategy. Like, instead of waiting for customers to come to you by giving them like thoughtful pieces of content, like instead identifying customers that we believe will actually have a good use for our product, and then going to them and making it really personalized to them. I'm really enjoying roundtables. Like, I really love getting our customers together with, like, we have incredibly intelligent people who work at Recurly, and like finding all the different people to talk to our different personas. We really think this will work well for you. Like, let us tell you more about Recurly.
It's a great way to start conversations.
Exactly.
In a casual manner. I mean, there is a level of formality to a round table, but it's a lot more casual than asking for a meeting via LinkedIn and then, having that video call and little introduction. It's a great channel.
Yeah, and I think just, I always try and think of the best way to speak to the customer. And I think like Recurly's customers, subscription businesses, we want to talk to them the same way that they talk to their customers. So it's like familiar marketing.
Indeed, yeah. Look, I think that was, you said a lot of gold dust then. So let me sort of summarize it. The multi-channel approach, I think, is key. You got to be communicating with people in via different channels to make sure that they keep remembering you, and the fact that each channel has a different conversion rate, and it reflects all the way down to the unit economics as well. I think a company that refers you to their friend or a former colleague that works at a different company may be more likely to convert than somebody that you've approached through cold outreach, and the acquisition cost for that referral may be effectively nothing relative to what you've spent on an event. Because you could bring 12 people to an event. If one closes, you've still paid for the marketing cost for the other 11.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think so paired with like multi-channel, we've also doing a lot with our partners. We basically identify the segments that we're going after, so like our sub industries. Really intentional about it, and then pair with a partner. And we're moving more now to also hosting like once a quarter, like an in-person event, and trying to bring back some like human element to pair with all the digital.
That just sort of hyper-personalization by vertical, it's really useful because there's always a limited set of problems that, you know, stakeholders face in an industry, and just, being able to nail that and talk about solutions and give value to them with partners is a fantastic way to spread the message and make people know that you're there.
Yeah, I think years ago I remember someone telling me that you have to see an ad like 25 times before you'll click on it. I'm sure there's new and updated statistics on that.
Look, in one of the podcasts, it was James Horax. He said it was 14.
14.
Or at least the politicians aim for 14. So
well, that's a better metric. But I do think that like we're becoming more and more blind to things, and we also even see like regional differences. Like LinkedIn, for example, is more effective in the UK than the US for ads.
Wow.
And I've done countless tests in the last sort of like 4 roles I've had on that, and it really is. I think that in LinkedIn, ads have been so much more paramount in the US, and there's so many companies in the US targeting people in the US with ads on LinkedIn that like actual generating leads is easier in the UK because we're not doing it as much. We're not as forceful with ads.
Indeed.
And then even down to the like style of the ad, I think is really important. Like having humans in your messaging, people talking, not just like graphics anymore, which was really popular
back
for a
in the
while.
Day. It really does seem to be video first. It's, you know, the ability to make videos has been just democratized.
And I think that will only have so long as a shelf life. Eventually our feeds will just be full of people, and we'll become blind to that as well. So I mean, getting ahead, getting your video content done now, and as quickly as possible while it's still impactful, I think is, and then we'll all have to think of something else.
No, indeed. Well, I mean, look, I know my so the reason I signed up for Amazon Prime was to get this Apple Pen on Prime Day that arrived today, because like carousels seem to be a very popular sort of media type at the moment. So that's the next test for me.
Nice.
Hopefully I will have published some by the time this podcast goes out. If not, then I'm very far behind my deadline.
You have to send it to me. I'd love to see that.
I will do. Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, Stephanie, thanks so much, for talking about your journey, for talking about Recurly, and then, the excellent sort of deep dive that we've had into enterprise marketing. Now, before we wrap up for the day, it'd be great just to hear from you what your top 3 takeaways or learnings have been that you could share with the audience.
My gut tells me that the best sort of marketing tactics for people going forward are to be really quick with video at the moment. If you're not doing video, I think you're behind.
Yes.
Get in there, do a lot of video content for your customers, speak to people on a human level, exactly like you're doing in this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Speak to people. We're all humans, and humans want to hear from humans. We are having this massive launch into AI, obviously, and we haven't touched anything on AI, but I mean, we are all very aware that there are bots and people writing content and stuff like that, and I think people want to still have that human element of truth, and having a person speaking gives credibility. So I think that would be like a top takeaway for me.
Yes.
And then also be really personal with your like outreach to your customers and how you're handling customers. Like personalization, again, people want to be spoken to like a human, like send them like offers and things that are based on their watching or their personalization. And then also just with scale, I think any business, just like how I'm thinking about when we're scaling our marketing, have the right tech stack in place to do that. We want to make sure that we have the right sort of software to analyze data to best target the right audience. Subscription customers should really have the best tech stack so that customer experience is completely flawless.
Yes, indeed.
And you do not want to lose a customer, so keep your churn down by having the best experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Look, really key takeaways there, Stephanie. Thank you so much for that. And I guess I'm actually gonna break the rule. I'm gonna go and ask you another question because you mentioned AI, and I don't know how it's escaped me, but I think it's worth asking. What impact do you see AI having in the marketing space?
I mean, personally, and I think you and I have touched on this before, but I actually now stop trusting people's posts on LinkedIn because I'm like, oh, I bet you they use ChatGPT for that.
Right.
Not that I have anything against it. Like, ChatGPT is incredible and like helps write content, and I think it's great because you can, if I was writing a blog, I would ask it a question and then use that as a base to go away and it gets the ball rolling, and it's really helpful. I can definitely see that AI is the future, and it should be implemented wherever possible. Use tech to your advantage, but I do feel like it sort of takes away that like truth of, I don't know, believing what someone's writing or their opinions, and so I just worry personally on whether people will trust your brand too much if you don't show them a human element or push through the AI.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think it's it is easy enough now on LinkedIn to spot particularly comments that have just been automated via AI. And I'm not going to name the companies, but I get sold to a lot in the sense of outbound sales tools, and there are companies out there that will automatically write a comment and post that, and the comment is written by ChatGPT or other large language models, but sometimes you can really just tell it's been written by a robot.
Yeah, and I mean, there's lots of automation tools that sales teams are using, like Outreach and stuff like that, are fantastic, and they do help the sales cycle. But there's nothing more impactful than receiving a message directly from someone. Cold calling was the automated emailing, the automated LinkedIn posts of the past, and people have completely been put off by cold calling. I hate even answering my phone if I don't know the number because I'm being sold something.
That's it.
So I think we will move down that road, and that's probably why email marketing has never been so hard, and acquisition through the normal channels, because people are so finished with it,
Yes, that's it. Yeah, I mean, look, cold calling, it's hard. It's interesting. I had the conversation about it yesterday with a friend who has worked in sales and partnerships as well, and then last night I saw a video by Stephen Bartlett about cold calling. And so anyway, my mate and I were talking about how we were doing a lot of cold calls back in the day, and you just learn something about persistence and understanding what's going to get through. But for all the sort of sales reps of today, just starting their career, they're just pressing a button and the emails are being sent out, and that they're not learning from objections.
Exactly. I think that you really miss out on that, like, no, I'm not ready now, and then like being solution sellers where you talk them around it, because if you just pressing play on a sequence that marketing's written or one salesperson has written, you're not getting any of their feedback. I worry that we're not going to like educate ourselves enough because of it, and there'll only be so many years that we can continue to repurpose what's already on the internet without like a personal thought.
Yes, indeed, agree. And look, I'll close off on that with another thing I saw on LinkedIn, and I had a chat with my client about this. There was somebody that was selling advertising. I think they worked for a magazine many years ago, and there were 2,000 potential buyers, but they chose the top 150 who represented 80% of the revenue. And this is really going back because they were sending faxes, back in the day to these companies. And they just focused on the 125 companies, and their sales grew like crazy. And it was because they didn't have a 5 or 6 touch point sequence. They would just, look, I'm going to get to know people from these companies. we're just gonna focus on them and that's it. And it led to success. So hopefully people just focus on getting to know their buyers and not spamming them.
Exactly. I think that's key.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Excellent. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. And we look forward to seeing Recurly and wish you guys all the best and success.
You. Brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you.